The Hoover and Three Gorges Dam prophecy. Well, before I begin my reading, what is going on out there? Have you ever seen such a flood? Actually, what is happening? It looks like the book of Revelations is out there. We got massive drought, 26 years worth, maybe, in the American Midwest. Enormous, unprecedented floods in China. Floods now in Korea and Japan. We had an earthquake in Colombia just a week ago. Earthquake in Spain. Fires in Spain. Fires in Belgium now. Drought in the food basket of Europe, the Netherlands, drought in Britain, Russia refusing to export gas, I believe it is. What's going on in Africa and Australia? Who can keep up with all the bad news? I'm sure it's all Mother Nature and you and me, the common people causing climate change. I'm sure earthquakes are climate change too. Or it's God if you're the Bible, if you're a Bible boy. Or maybe, just maybe, the people who wrote Revelations already had the weapons they needed and knew they would use them to cause some of these problems. All of them. Wait, fires. Did I mention fires? Forgot those. Maybe earthquakes. That's, not so easy to grasp when you're not on the inside. Weather manipulation, certainly. Certainly. Water vapor is being produced constantly at a constant rate every year. It must fall somewhere. If it doesn't fall on Western Europe or the US, it's going to fall somewhere. And this year, they have it falling on China. Madness. But yes, it's good to end with what's happening in China right now before I begin my reading, because today's investigation was inspired by other investigators looking at some of the occult messaging at the Hoover Dam. Yeah, it rivals the great occult messaging at is it Denver Airport? Very interesting. Let's have a look at my work or listen to it. This is in my Encyclopedia Comedia. I pray it will stop growing, as it's now 302,000 words. It's about 4 ordinary books. Let us begin. Very few people understand that the occult symbolism at the Hoover Dam in California, on the border of, what's that? Nevada and, is it New Mexico? I will correct that. Occult symbolism also hidden in the US $50 bill and in the Bible story of Noah's flood and the red dragon in Revelation all actually connect to China's Three Gorges Dam, which is on the Yangtze River. I decoded the Bible's hidden references to China dams and floods in the criminal Bible. For example, the story of Noah's flood involves Noah, his wife, three sons, and three wives. Their three wives, making a total of eight people. Coincidentally, not the Chinese character for boat has eight people on a boat. What would be the purpose of making this coincidence? Well, why does Revelation 12 involve a red dragon that causes a flood? These are the only two floods. They are in the first and last books of the Bible. And you know what the Bible says? I am the first and the last. As above, so below, beginning and the end. Both Genesis and Revelation are actually prophetic books, which is why Revelation really doesn't discuss droughts. It didn't need to, because a drought is prophesied in Genesis. But yes, red dragons are a Chinese symbol, ironically, painfully ironically, for good luck. Yes, China is flooding this year already, but I must stick to my text. Here, I'll try to focus on the Hoover Dam's occult messaging, some history, some myths, and some coincidences between the $50 and 50 yuan bills. That's all. Oh, just a little work on my plate. The problem most researchers face when decoding the occult messaging around the Hoover Dam is that it seems to predict a flood, and yet for the past 26 years, the Colorado River's level has been declining. And at present, it is so low that the dam will soon begin losing its ability to generate electricity. However, this problem is resolved by the fact that the Hoover Dam's occult messaging artworks, dare I call them artworks, indicate that it is a stargate, meaning a supernatural gate to a distant place in the universe. Well, that's science fiction. In reality, the stargate messaging directs us to the Three Gorges Dam across the planet. Sorry, across the plane. Which, not coincidentally, some engineers believe the Three Gorges Dam can and will burst. Maybe this year, with the amount of flooding and rainfall happening, who knows? And maybe the WCC won't wait for the rain and the mass of water being held by that dam to destroy it. No, they do have weapons, silent, invisible weapons. In fact, less than 70% of the engineers involved in the Three Gorges Dam proposal believed it was safe to build. Of course, every dam could break, and living below one on land that could be violently flooded by a dam disaster is always unwise. Unfortunately, over 100 million Chinese live in that danger zone, making the Three Gorges Dam the most dangerous dam on Earth. Precisely why it was chosen, I suspect, chosen by the psychopaths for a big splash. My inserted photographs and comments about the 50 denomination notes from the US and China begins to build a connection between the two nations. Here we have the 50 Chinese yuan and the 50 US dollar. The back of the 50 yuan note displays the Potala Palace in Lhasa, Tibet, former home of the, what are they called? Those, that funny man, the Dalai Lama, yes. It is now an autonomous region of China. Tibet is. It's not part of China proper. It's an autonomous region. It was formerly the Winter Palace, yes, of the Dalai Lamas, the former puppet rulers of Tibet. The back of the US 50 note displays the Capitol building, in which the puppet rulers of the US conduct their circus performances for the people. Coincidentally, the Capitol building is in Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, and the Hoover Dam is on the Colorado River, which actually means red. There's that red again. Potala Palace is located near the source of the Yangtze River. Coincidentally, Potala Palace is not in China proper, and the Capitol building is in DC, therefore it is not in US jurisdiction, as Washington, D.C. is like the Vatican, like London City of London. They are independent states outside the law. Outside the laws we must obey. Well, the problem most researchers face, yes, read that, my inserted photographs. Additionally, the Chinese, oh, wait. The second editions of those $50 and 50 denomination notes have more interesting occult, maybe hints. As you see, this revised second edition of the 50 yuan has a waterfall. And the second edition of the $50 bill, if sliced and in half and joined together, seems to present a waterfall. This is the old one. This is the spillway of a dam, something that resembles a dam. And it has a little bridge or something on top. The second one has no bridge and has these white marks to suggest water is moving over it, like a waterfall. And that's how I don't know how they cut this exactly. It's a bit dubious, but anyway, we do have the waterfall in the Chinese one. Additionally, the Chinese 100 yuan note features the Great Hall of the People with circular lines, circles really, radiating above it. There you have it. The Great Hall of the People. And what is that bizarre pattern supposed to represent? Could it be some DEW weapon? Of course, it's over the heads of the people. This is the Great Hall of the People, not the Great Hall of their rulers. No, they had to put it over our heads. And the Hoover Dam's occult paraphernalia includes two angels who together represent, in my opinion, and based on my research, electromagnetic weapons, and one weapon, of course. Why do I believe that? A number of reasons. I've spoken in other lecture about the Ark of the Covenant, The coven, the Ark of the Covenant has an angel on either side. Actually, it's called what's the right word for it? Another kind of angel. Slips my mind. But two of them, and in the center is a seat, sometimes referred to as the seat of mercy. I've spoken about. This is occult referencing to a electric chair. Yes, the Ark of the Covenant is an electric weapon. That's why in Revelation, lightning flashes out of it. And secondly, I believe the two angels represent a weapon, an electric weapon, because in the book of Genesis, two angels are present when the stone cities of Sodom and Gomorrah are reduced to ash, and Lot's wife is turned into a pillar of salt. Both destructions suggest the targets experience temperatures higher than the temperatures produced by fire. I will add something here about the Ark of the Covenant witchcraft. It's all, yes. It's not witchcraft, it's witch tech. Additionally, the star, well, let's have a look at those two angels first before I forget. They have unusually long wings extended straight up as if they were pillars, Masonic pillars, or, yes, to remind you, as if they were electrodes. The anode and is it the diode? Positive and negative. And when activated with electricity, they form an arc or arch. Between them, there's a nice arch. Also, at the Hoover Dam. But more on that later. Additionally, the star Thuban is depicted really on the star map embedded in the floor of the Monument Plaza at the western end of the Hoover Dam. Thuban might be the ancient Egyptian North Star. Stars, stars, stars. Both China and the US have stars on their flags. And Revelation is full of stars. Isn't the whole world being distracted by stars? But I digress. The name Thuban originated from the Arabic word Thuban, which translates to large snake, python, or legendary dragon. This is good because dragons are strongly related to China's mythology. And the book of Revelation, chapter 12, mentions a red dragon, which is a Chinese symbol. And the text refers 3 times in chapter 12 to that dragon as a snake. 3 times. The number 3 links us back to the 3 Gorges dam, especially because the dragon in Revelation causes a flood. And rivers are a lot like snakes, aren't they? Plus, hey, back to the Colorado River, its name is Spanish for the color red, linking us back to the red dragon of China. Why? There's a bit of etymology here. Why were dams named dams? I believe the word dam was derived from the word dame, meaning woman, because before women give birth, their water breaks forth like a flood. Secondly, the word dam, with an N at the end, probably originated afterwards as an occult warning about dams. Apparently, Madonna, the one and only, once posed before a throne resembling the Hoover Dam and feigned giving birth, which would also expel red blood in addition to water, or what's the right word for it? Breaking the water, so why not call it water? And there's Thuban with an upside down pyramid pointing towards it. Why an upside down pyramid? Well, if you believe the, what's it called? The solar centric model. If you believe modern astronomy, you might say China is on the opposite side, not only the opposite side of the Earth, but relative to the opposite side, it's upside down. And yes, China also has pyramids. Thuban. There's, yes, well, we'll get to that last image in a moment. The Hoover Dam Memorial to the workers who died building the dam begs questioning. Instead of featuring men who died on the dry construction site, it features one man, apparently in fear of drowning. One man under an arc, an electric arc, I might add. And that arc reads, "They died so that the desert might bloom," or to make the desert bloom. Yeah, human sacrifice for the life of others. Well, yeah, that is the thinking of cannibals. We sacrifice you for our benefit. The desert isn't blooming very much, unfortunately. But electricity was provided for millions. Well, actually, yes, water was provided by the Hoover Dam, I guess, for irrigation farms. The Hoover Dam Memorial, yes. Where did I stop? Again, yes, that fear of drowning telegraphs the WCC's intent to cause a flood. And so I remind you that the Colorado River is nearly dry, as the southwest of the US has suffered a mega drought for the past 26 years, starting slowly, climaxing perhaps this year. Therefore, the Hoover Dam is unlikely to cause a violent flood, whereas the Three Gorges Dam could certainly cause a violent flood, if not this year, as China is experiencing unprecedented rainfall and flooding, then perhaps in 2030, which would be the 254th year since the founding of the US. Apparently, these two dates were chosen with intent because the number 254 reduces to 11, which is the sign of the two pillars, Masonic pillars, the two electrodes, and the electromagnetic weapon. Recently, someone on Chinese social media spread the rumor that the Three Gorges Dam has 710 cracks. Here you go. I think it's the channel name China Observer. Of course, no photographic evidence was provided. None. Well, there's one crack they showed. But the number, because it reduces to 18, which is code for 666, suggests that someone is telegraphing evil intent. The name Yangtze of the Yangtze River comes from Yangzin, maybe, an ancient ferry crossing near the city of Yangzhou. This is ominous because in Greek mythology, ferry crossings represent the passage from life to death. And I'm afraid many will have that passage, will experience that passage as the Three Gorges Dam. Sounds almost like gorgeous, doesn't it? How ironic. The beautiful dam. Uh, Sick of their puns. The Three Gorges Dam. Those three throats will swallow up millions of lives. By the way, of course, the word gorgeous with ES is related to the throat, gorge, and gargle. And the three gorges are actually three throat-like valleys. Is that the right word? Yeah, between those very steep mountains near the Three Gorges Dam. And by the way, by not coincidence, the dragon in Revelation, I think 10, maybe 11, the dragon opens its mouth and three frogs come out of its gorge, as if it gorged on frogs, but the frogs survive and come out three, exactly three. And as I mentioned, the word snake appears three times in Revelation 12. That's in the, what's it called? The King James Version, not in the New International Version. Anyone who doubts the veracity of this my prophetic information, might consider some precedents, historical precedents. They do not bode well either. For example, in Chile, on September 11th, 1973, that number, 1973, reduces to 20, the number of the double crossers. On that day, Pinochet's revolutionary forces overthrew President Allende and bombed La Moneda, the presidential palace. On that day, government and revolutionary forces suffered a combined 80 deaths, which number reduces to 18, or 666. And on a later September 11th, you know, the one in 2001, the WCC destroyed the Twin Towers, those twin pillars, aka the World Trade Center towers, and more buildings, not with jet fuel, which cannot destroy concrete and steel structures, but with undisclosed explosives or other weapons, perhaps electromagnetic. Whatever they used, the date was carefully chosen, as September is the 9th month, and 9 plus 11 equals 20, or XX, the number of the double crossers. Additionally, although September is the 9th month, the word's origin is Latin for seven. Septa is seven. And 7 plus 11 equals 18, which is code for, you know. And as if to celebrate the anniversaries of the two previous 9/11 events, the WCC decided to kill more than the first and second 9/11 events by destroying two dams in Libya on September 11, 2023. The numbers in the date 9/11/2023 produce a sum of 18. or 666. The collapse of Abu Mansur Dam and the Al Bilad or Derna Dam was blamed on a freak, unprecedented Mediterranean hurricane. But that hurricane was, I'm sure, manufactured in order to produce the required excuse for the dams breaking and killing up to 11,000 people, with thousands more missing, meaning dead. Additionally, the man on the US $50 note is Ulysses S. Grant, the 18th president. Are these repeating occult numbers coincidental or evidence that we are ruled by a psychopathic elite that kills for entertainment and relishes the fact that we are ignoring its patterns and hints? From the patterns we can see, we should conclude that in the near future, the Three Gorges Dam will be destroyed, sacrificing millions of innocents on the WCC's altar of sadism. We can also be sure that other disasters are planned. In fact, in this double-cross year of 2026, an unprecedented number of manufactured disasters are happening. Fires, floods, droughts, and earthquakes. It's enough to make me more than wonder if the people who wrote the book of Revelation already had the weapons with which they would create the disasters described in that book. Additionally, beyond these so-called disasters, other disasters exist. At present, the working class is being deliberately ground into poverty and despair, and our food may soon turn from being too expensive to being rationed. Anyone who likes to eat should know food production is being destroyed by many weapons, electromagnetic weather manipulation tech, market or price manipulation weapons, obstructions of vital supplies such as fertilizer and diesel, legislation based on climate change, bullshit, and more. My friends, the situation is quite dire, but I don't think it's hopeless. We must and will abandon our golden cage. Stop entertaining the psychopaths with our suffering, and we must begin fulfilling our destiny to create a garden of life where everything is, well, how could it be worse? Of course it will be better. Even our jokes, our sense of humor will be better. And then, who knows, maybe the psychopaths will laugh with us instead of at us. If that seems an impossible task, you just wait for my last book, The Holy Comedy. Just give me some time. Yes, we can do much better. And, well, change is never easy for most people, but it will happen. And people are, of course, growing more than a little impatient and tired of the golden cage. With that, my friends, I wish you all well. Be healthy. Take care. Spread the word. Make some comments. I like to read comments in the comment section, and support me by purchasing one of my 3 books on Lulu. You can see the links in the show notes. The good news is I just managed to get the Criminal Bible up, both volumes, on Lulu just a few days ago.